The door doesn't slam. It closes with a hydraulic hiss. And that sound, mechanical, indifferent, is the last thing that feels normal for a long time. You're standing in a processing corridor with 43 other men. Some are crying. Some are already performing. You're doing neither because you understand on some animal level that the first thing this place reads is your face. And your face right now is unreadable. That's the only thing you got right today. Level 1. Fresh fish. You don't know anything. That's the first truth. You know what you've seen in movies. You know what someone's cousin told you. You know the stories. None of it applies. The rules here aren't written down anywhere, and they weren't designed to be learned. They were designed to sort people. The ones who figure it out survive. The ones who don't become cautionary lessons that other people use to educate their people. Your first hour, you're assigned a bunk, a number, and a set of clothes that don't fit. You stand in line for 30 minutes for a meal you can't identify. You eat it anyway. You learn that hunger here is psychological, not physical. You're not hungry. You're scared. And scared men eat. The first thing you observe is eye contact. Who holds it? Who drops it? Where the invisible lines are drawn in the common area. Which tables belong to which groups. Which corner no one walks through. Which guard looks away at specific moments. You absorb it without asking. Asking is a weakness here. Asking means you need something. And the moment someone knows you need something, you owe them. You owe no one yet. That's the only leverage you have. Your cellmate's name is Reyes. He's 41, 6 years in, 2 to go. He doesn't volunteer. He watches you unpack your commissary, and when you put your deodorant on the left side of the shelf, he says, without looking up, "Right side's mine." You move it without a word. He nods. Once. That nod means you passed a test you didn't know you were taking. That first night on your back, staring at the underside of his mattress, you make a decision. You're going to treat this place like a language. You're going to learn it. And you're going to be fluent before anyone realizes you were ever illiterate. You have no idea what that decision is going to cost you. Level 2. Recognized. 3 months in, you have a name. Not your government name. A name people use, which means they've made room for you in their mental map of this place. That matters, more than you expected it to. You've been working the laundry rotation. Unglamorous, relentless. You move 300 pounds of linen per shift, and you do it without complaint, without mistakes, and without stealing. The stealing part was a choice. There's a market for pilfered laundry supplies. Soap, fabric softener, razors that go missing from the dispensary. But you watched 2 men lose their work assignments for shorting the supply chain. And work assignment is the only currency that buys time outside your cell. You kept your hands clean. What you got in return is a reputation for reliability. Boring, invisible, underestimated. That is, for now, exactly what you want. You start doing small things for people, not favors. Favors create debt. You do services. A man needs something from one corridor when he's confined to another. You're in both corridors. You move information. Not sensitive information. Nothing that can come back on you. Schedules. Availability. When a certain officer rotates off. What commissary is well stocked this week. The small logistical facts that make a man's day easier. People start talking to you. You listen more than you speak. When you speak, you're precise. No rambling, no complaints. No jokes that haven't already been calibrated for the room. You understand now that conversation here is not social. It's evaluative. Every exchange is someone deciding what you are and how useful you are. You decide what you are before anyone else can. The psychological shift at level 2 is subtle. You stop feeling afraid and start feeling watchful. There's a difference. Fear is reactive. Watchful is strategic. You sleep better now, which surprises you. You think it's confidence. Later you'll understand it was just the first layer of yourself going quiet. Level 3. Employed. 6 months in, a man named Carver approaches you. Carver is not the man you'd pick as powerful if you were new. He's medium height, soft-spoken, and spends most of his visible time reading. But nothing in here is what it looks like. Carver runs the informal lending operation for his block. Books, commissary, time. Not money, because cash is a violation. But everything that functions like money, Carver moves. He offers you a position, not a job. A position, you carry, you verify. You remember terms because nothing is written. You're a walking ledger for a system that processes roughly $6,000 in commissary value per month across 43 men. The first week, you make errors. You're corrected once, quietly. The second week, you don't make errors. The work is not morally neutral. You understand that. Some of the men who borrow can't pay. What happens to them is something you don't participate in directly, but you know what happens. You've seen the bruises. You've seen men eat smaller portions for 3 weeks straight to clear a debt that was $15 worth of tuna packets. You rationalize it 3 ways. First, you didn't create the system. It existed before you got here. Second, the men who borrow know what they're signing. Third, you need this more than you need your discomfort. The third rationalization is the one that sticks. After a while, the other two stop being necessary. You're no longer afraid of this place. You're no longer outside its logic. You are inside it now, operating it, and the first person you've stopped recognizing is yourself. Level 4, Operator. A year in. You have people, not a crew, not formally, but 3 men who align with you, who let you know things, who move when you suggest movement, who back your read of a room. You didn't recruit them. Recruitment is too visible, too much like something that can be witnessed and reported. They came to you because you've made good calls, and good calls in a closed environment are the only real currency that can't be confiscated. Carver trusts you now. That means his rivals know your name. That's the first moment the weight of this becomes tangible, when you realize that your ascension isn't private. People above you have noticed. People who benefit from Carver's operation noticed when it ran smoother. People who compete with Carver's operation noticed too. You're no longer invisible. The officer who used to nod at you now holds your eyes a half-second longer when you pass. It's a warning, or an invitation. You're not sure yet. You file it and keep moving. You have your first real conflict at 14 months. A man named Tolbert, big, politically connected to a different structure, claims you shorted him on a commissary arrangement. You didn't. The ledger is in your head and it's clean. But Tolbert's claim isn't really about the commissary. It's about whether you'll fold. You don't fold. You stand in the common room with 14 people watching and you lay out the timeline with the precision of a surgeon. Item by item. Date by date. You're not loud. You're not threatening. You're irrefutable. Tolbert can't argue math. He backs down. Not gracefully, but he backs down. The men who watched that exchange made a decision about you. Most of them made the right one. You go back to your cell that night and your hands are steady. And your mind is clear, and something that used to feel like conscience is now so quiet it might as well be gone. Level 5, Respected. 2 years in, Carver is transferred. Administrative reassignment. The system does this periodically, shuffling men between facilities to break up power structures. It works on some men. It doesn't work on structures that were never about the individual. Carver's operation doesn't disappear. It reorganizes around you. You didn't ask for this. But you didn't refuse it either. Refusing it would have left a vacuum, and a vacuum in this environment fills with chaos, and chaos is worse than the alternative. You tell yourself this every day for about 2 weeks. Then you stop telling yourself anything. It's just your life now. You're running approximately $11,000 in commissary value per month. You have 4 men under you with clear roles. You have an arrangement with 2 officers, not bribery in any formal sense. Just a mutual understanding that certain corridors see less scrutiny on certain evenings, and that certain paperwork gets processed in certain orders. You don't pay them in cash. You pay them in information. Who is planning what? Where the real tension is. You're a source. Being a source makes you protected. What no one tells you about protection is how lonely it is. You can't eat with just anyone. Now, your associations are calculated. Every conversation is an equation. You haven't laughed, genuinely, thoughtlessly laughed, in 4 months, maybe longer. You notice this the way you might notice the weather. Clinically, without urgency, you're respected. Respect here means people don't test you. People bring problems to you. People want to be near you, and simultaneously are slightly afraid of you. You've forgotten what it felt like to just be a person in a room. Level 6, Authority. 3.5 years. You're not the biggest operation. You don't need to be. You're the most stable one, which in a maximum security environment is worth more than size. Chaos operations burn hot and collapse. You're a slow, cold burn that doesn't draw heat. 2 rival structures have approached you about arrangements. You've accepted one, declined one. The declined one is now watching you from a careful distance. That's fine. Watched men are predictable men. Predictable men make decisions you can plan around. The guards know who you are, not the compromised ones. The straight ones too. The ones who've watched you operate for 3 years and have made a pragmatic calculation that things run quieter when your order is maintained. You've never articulated a threat to any of them. You don't need to. Your reputation does that. Reputation is not your face. It's not your voice. It's the story that arrives in a room before you do. You have a conversation this year with a man named Whitmore, a lifer, 58 years old, 26 years in. He sits down across from you one afternoon and says nothing for 2 minutes, and then says, "You know what you're becoming." You say, "Yes." He nods and gets up and leaves. That's the whole conversation. You think about it for 6 days. Then you file it somewhere deep and close the drawer. The psychological reality of level 6 is this. You've built something. Inside a cage, you've built something that functions and provides stability and has rules and hierarchy and internal logic. Part of you, the part you don't examine, is proud of it. The part that does that examining is quieter every month. Level 7, the name, 5 years in. You never planned to become a myth. Myths are inefficient. Myths attract attention. But somewhere between your 4th and 5th year, that's what happened. Your name isn't just recognized, it's referenced. Men at facilities 3 states away have heard your name through the informal networks that run between prisons like telephone wire. New arrivals hear it from old-timers before they ever see your face. You've been the subject of 3 internal investigations. Nothing has ever materialized because nothing is ever written and the witnesses are never willing. You're not untouchable. No one inside a prison is untouchable. You're expensive to touch. The distinction matters. At this level, you barely operate directly. You architect. Decisions flow up to you as problems. You return them as solved. You have 4 people who each have 4 people. None of the bottom tier knows your name officially. To them, you're referred to as a title, a direction, a concept, which means you've become something more abstract than a man. The cost of this is absolute isolation. You sit in the common room, sometimes, surrounded by people, and it's the most alone you've ever been. You are the most powerful person in this building, and you have not had an honest conversation in over a year. Honesty is a vulnerability you can no longer afford. Your family has stopped visiting. Not from malice. From attrition. You couldn't explain what was happening to you, and eventually the distance became its own kind of fact. You sleep fine. That's the part that disturbs you most when you think about it. You sleep fine. Level 8. The architect. 7 years. You exist in a category that has no official name. The administration is aware of you in the way a city is aware of a geological condition. They plan around you, account for you in their calculations, and know that direct confrontation is more expensive than managed coexistence. You've never threatened anyone in authority. You've never needed to. You control the flow of information, contraband, labor, and protection across 4 wings of this facility. On paper, you're a model prisoner. No violations in 31 months. Participation in educational programming, clean cell inspections. The paper version of you is close to release. The real version of you has nowhere to go. This is the thing you understand now, at level 8, that you could not have understood at level 1. Power inside a closed system is not transferable. Everything you've built, every relationship, every understanding, every piece of your architecture, exists inside this facility. It doesn't travel. The man outside these walls is a stranger to this man. You're scheduled to be released in 14 months, and for the first time in 5 years, you feel something that might be fear, not of the outside world, of who you'll be in it, of what's left. The version of yourself that existed before the hydraulic door closed is gone. You know this the way. You know everything at this level, not emotionally, but structurally, as a fact of the system. You entered as a person and became a function. And functions don't know how to be people anymore. You sit in your cell at 11 p.m. and the facility breathes around you. Sounds you know perfectly now, every creak and announcement and distant yell and guard shift change. And you understand that you know this place better than you've ever known anywhere. It is, in the most brutal sense of the word, home. That realization doesn't destroy you, it just completes you. And completion, you've learned, is its own kind of ending. Somewhere in the processing corridor, a door hisses closed. A man stands with 40-something others. He's reading the room, watching the eyes, deciding which version of himself to project. He thinks this place is something to be survived. He hasn't learned yet that the real danger was never the place. It's what the place makes you into. He'll figure it out, they all do.